20% off frame.
We'll see you again. The O'Reilly Factor from Los Angeles is on. Tonight, President Bush facing some very difficult decisions regarding terrorism. Iran may be protecting Taliban and is sending weapons to the PLO. What should the USA do? What will Congress do now that we know Afghan warlords are protecting some high-ranking Taliban? We'll talk with a senator just back from Afghanistan. And why does Hollywood hate the Factor? Bill Maher has some theories for us. Caution, you're about to enter a no-spin zone. The Factor begins in 90 seconds.
Fox News Live, I'm Kiran Chetri. The first group of al-Qaeda and Taliban prisoners arrived at the U.S. naval base in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. They were flown in on an Air Force plane similar to the one you see there. They'll be kept in a high-security military prison.
They will be handled in the right way. They will be handled not as prisoners of war, because they're not, but as unlawful combatants. As I understand it, technically, unlawful combatants do not have any rights under the Geneva Convention. We have indicated that we do plan to, for the most part, treat them in a manner that is reasonably consistent with the Geneva Conventions to the extent they are appropriate.
And this first group of men are considered the most dangerous of the captives. The feds have charged an Egyptian national with lying in connection with the 9/11 investigation. They say he denied knowledge of a radio in his hotel room across the street from the World Trade Center. That radio could communicate with airline pilots. And a federal appeals court is refusing to revisit the Exxon Valdez case ruling. The court announcing today it will not reconsider a $5 billion punitive damage against the oil company. That oil spill in Alaska in 1989 was the worst in U.S. history. We'll have another update for you coming up at the bottom of the hour right here on Fox News.
I'm Bill O'Reilly reporting tonight from Los Angeles. Thanks for watching us. There has been a verdict in the Hockey Dad trial in Massachusetts, and we'll have reaction to a very controversial decision in just a few moments. I am here in California to face the enemy. That's the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Tomorrow morning, I will do my Russell Crowe gladiator imitation, and I will walk into the arena and face more than 100 television critics who are out here reporting on the TV industry. This takes place every year in Pasadena, and these people want to talk to me this year. I wonder why. Actually, it is a wonder that so many establishment media people dislike the Factor. It's obvious we're different, that we don't pander to anyone, and we rigidly enforce the no-spin zone. In an age of phony TV talking heads and softball interviewers, you would think the TV critics would like the Factor's approach. Now, some of them do, but ideology is always in play when you deal with the print press. Since I don't know any conservative TV critics, not one, I have to believe that some of the writers simply don't like the fact that we take some conservative positions on this program. That doesn't mean we are conservative. We're not. We're independent. If you watch as often, you know how much criticism we take from the hard right, who believe that President Bush should never be criticized, and neither should the U.S. military. We scrutinize everybody. That's our mandate, and time again, we prove it. Attorney General John Ashcroft won't talk with us because he doesn't like our constant questioning of his corruption investigations. Congressman Tom DeLay still angry with us because we exposed his fundraising pressure tactics. I'll give you 20 more examples. But hardcore liberals in America tend to take things very personally if you don't toe a certain line. Some conservatives are like that, but the committed left really get teed off. Just a few moments, we'll talk with Bill Maher about why Hollywood dislikes the Factor so much. It's a very interesting phenomenon, and one that has made national headlines. We hope you stick around for it. But getting back to the TV critics, they'll outnumber me 100 to 1 tomorrow, and I kind of like those odds. Factor has become a very powerful program in America because you, the audience, know we're honest and are looking out for the folks, not the vested interests. Some of the critics don't get that. That's okay. We are not trying to persuade anybody. We just want you to consider what we have to say here and make up your own mind. By the way, my sword and shield and Russell Crowe helmet are being polished even as we speak. I'll let you know what happens on Monday. That's a memo. Now for the top story tonight. And it's a tough one for President Bush. As you know, the Israelis captured a PLO vessel loaded with arms donated by Iran. And Iran also may be protecting some Taliban terrorists. Joining us now from Washington is Abdel Hassan Rahman, the PLO chief representative to the United States of America. Hey, this has got to be a major embarrassment, Mr. Rahman, to the PLO, this ship being taken in the Red Sea. What say you?
Well, first of all, you do not have all the facts. Second, you have both the Israeli story without any critical analysis of what they have said. Third, we are initiating our own investigation, and I hope that you will give us the chance to publish what we conclude out of those investigations.
Oh, Mr. Rahman, absolutely. You're welcome anytime on this program. But we have on the Fox News Channel an interview with the skipper of that vessel, who's a Palestinian, all right, who admits that he went to Iran, where he picked up weapons and then turned around and was floating them back to the PLO, the Palestinian Authority. Now, this is what the guy says. So what are you telling me? He's lying?
What would you expect from a prisoner?
What would I expect?
Who is under Israeli custody, who is being pressured by the Israelis to say what he had said.
Wait a minute, Mr. Rahman.
Wait a minute.
What
the Israelis say at face value.
Well, hold it. I'm not taking what the Israelis say. You got a ship, okay? It's loaded with arms, all right?
Of course.
The guy in charge of the ship is a PLO guy. Of course we're going to think that.
Absolutely. But you have people who say things under pressure. You are not giving us the opportunity to investigate. You are not giving us the information that's available to the Israelis. We have called for Israel to share with us the information. We have called on the United States. We have called for an international commission of inquiry. But before the Israelis listened to us, Mr. Sharon embarked on a bully-like behavior, destroying 73 homes of Palestinian refugees, leaving 700 people homeless, and destroying the Gaza Strip airport.
I'm not defending anybody or in this war of I don't even know what the word is. I want you guys more than anything in the world to have peace. But I'm telling you, Mr. Rahman, look, I'm a journalist. I see a ship coming up the Red Sea with a PLO guy in charge, with big weapons in the ship, Farsi markings on it. Farsi markings on the weapons, okay?
Yeah.
Now, come on. If you find out that this is some kind of staged thing, I'll listen to you. But I'm telling you, you're not telling me right now that those arms weren't destined for the Palestinian Authority, are you?
Yes, I'm telling you they are not.
You are denying that?
Yes, absolutely. Because
well, how did that PLO guy get in charge of the ship?
Well, you know, there's a ship there. You have many armed traders in the Middle East. They could be Palestinians, they could be Americans, they could be anybody. If the Israelis were really serious about this, and they are in control of the shores of the Gaza Strip, why they wouldn't go 300 miles into the sea and not let this ship come to Gaza, where they are in control, and apprehend it in Gaza? I think there is something fishy there. Let's wait for the results of the investigation, Mr. O'Reilly.
All right. Look, I'm willing to hear your side of the story. It looks real bad for the PLO now.
Well,
what do you think President Bush should do with Iran? All right. Now, there's no question that Iran loaded up the ship full of weapons. Now, if they weren't going to the PLO, they were going somewhere where they shouldn't have been going, okay? You, the PLO, have close ties with Iran. You're not going to deny that.
No, we don't. You know, Iran has been very critical of the Palestinian Authority for our peace agreement.
But all right, maybe let's put it this way. Iran is very close to Hezbollah, it's very close to Hamas, and it's very close to the Islamic Jihad, all of which operate within Palestinian territory, okay? Is that fair?
No.
That's not fair.
No, it is not fair. Why you want me to indict Iran before having all the information?
Because the guns were on the ship, loaded.
Of course. But you know
Iranian guns.
You know, listen, they could be American guns. They could be Russian guns.
They're Farsi markings on them.
Listen, Israel imports weapons from all over the world. It has nuclear weapons. Nobody ever points to Israel. Why Israel has
Iran's not going to give money to the Israelis. Now, I know. I don't want.
But the question is, We don't know where those weapons are heading to.
But we do know they came from Iran, and we do know they were illicit weapons because no country has said, we bought them, they were on their way to us. So what should we as Americans do to Iran?
I am not here to defend anybody. What I'm here to say is let's wait for the truth to come out.
The truth will never come out. It'll never come out. You guys don't have a free, because you don't have a free press over there, Mr. Rahman. You have a controlled press. You're not going to get, you don't have an individual. Listen, you're going to tell me, Mr. Rahman, and I respect you, I do, and you're welcome anytime here, okay? But you're going to tell me that the PLO is going to do a completely objective investigation here, that they're not going to spin it to their, come on, nobody's going to buy that.
Let me tell you, I am posing a challenge here. We will do investigation with the help of the Americans, the Israelis, and the international community. We are open for that. Let the United States, let Israel come with their information and present it to us. So far, the only information that has been put out is Israel's story. And Israel, you know, lies also. The Israelis are not prophets. They are not
Everybody's going to, I will tell you this, everybody in the Middle East is going to spin it their way. Now, Arafat, under pressure from the United States, has now arrested some of the guys on the ship. So that indicates to us here in America that there was chicanery going on there, because you guys have now made arrests.
No,
so don't tell me.
By the way, they were not on the ship. The three that they were detained, their names have come up, and we are interrogating them, and we will publish whatever conclusions we have. We will be transparent on this issue.
All right, but the American press is reporting that you've arrested them now after the interrogation.
Yes, they are being detained. But what I want somebody to tell the Israelis to stop this gangsterism that they are carrying on against the Palestinian civilians, leaving Palestinians homeless. Today, tonight, as we were talking,
we agree with that.
700 people who are living
Mr. Rahman,
in the rain.
We agree with no civilian targets. No civilian targets.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think all Americans believe that as well. Mr. Rahman, we always appreciate you coming on the program.
I really appreciate you having me here.
We'll be right back with the senator just back from Afghanistan.
You can slow down investing. You can stop investing entirely. But you can't stop daughters from falling in love.
Hi, Daddy.
Which is why your Morgan Stanley financial advisor will never let you lose sight of what you're investing for.
New on DVD, MASH, the movie that started it all.
What's the matter with her today? That's what being a soldier is all about.
Now, for the first time, the fully restored original version.
I demand an explanation.
I'm gonna get that dirty old man out of this operating theater.
With an all-star cast, including Donald Sutherland, Elliot Gould, and directed by Robert Altman.
I'm Dr. Jekyll. This is my friend, Mr. Hyde.
MASH, special edition DVD. Own it today.
Amen.
Introducing Rock and Pop Classics. 2 CDs in beautiful hardcover books. 28 original hits for the special price of only $17.99.
Do that to me one more time. Reunited.
Here are the greatest love songs of rock and pop music.
I wanna know what love is. It happens all the time.
This collection is not available in any store.
Sometimes the snow comes down.
Then you'll have the opportunity to audition other deluxe albums. No obligation to buy. Your satisfaction is guaranteed.
I get lost.
Rock and Pop Classics is the ultimate romantic collection. 28 great hits on 2 CDs plus 2 hardcover books for only $17.99. Here's how to order. Call toll-free for Rock and Pop Classics. You'll get 2 deluxe CD albums for only $17.99 plus $3.99 shipping. Call now.
The Impact segment tonight, 9 powerful U.S. senators are just back from Afghanistan and Pakistan. Joining us now from Washington is one of those senators, Republican Susan Collins from Maine. Senator, a lot of Americans, including me, are very, very concerned about the warlords in Afghanistan who seem to be running things now outside of Kabul, allowing Taliban prisoners of war to just buy their way out of captivity. They released the Taliban Minister of Justice. I mean, if this guy's not a war criminal, nobody is. What do you think about that?
I was horrified when I read that that had occurred. It happened as we were traveling back. We did raise this issue with the new interim president, Mr. Karzai, about whether or not he felt he could truly control the country, because we do have warlords that are substantially in control of certain of the provinces of Afghanistan, and that is very troubling. One of the things that President Karzai is going to need our help to do is to establish a national army in order to truly regain control of all of Afghanistan.
All right, so right now you don't believe that he can control these warlords. He needs a big army, probably funded mostly by the United States and trained by us. That means that Mullah Omar and Osama bin Laden, chances are we're not going to catch them in Afghanistan.
I think we are going to catch them, but whether or not they're going to be in Afghanistan or Pakistan or some other country remains to be seen. But let me tell you that I was very impressed with President Karzai, but he has a very difficult job. This country has been riven by war and ethnic disputes for centuries, and it is going to be a difficult task, and he does need our help.
All right, so we're in for the long run here, it looks like, and we're in for a lot of money. That's what you're telling me, that this guy's got to build an army from scratch. He doesn't have control of the situation. The United States is going to have to keep troops there, and the taxpayers are going to have to, it's going to take billions of dollars to build that place up.
Well, I don't think we can shoulder the responsibility totally alone, and we shouldn't do so. In fact, the United States is going to play a very secondary role in the peacekeeping force. Britain's taking the lead. We talked to Turkish leaders about their taking the lead after Great Britain. But there's no doubt that we're going to need to make a substantial investment. That's necessary to drain the swamp of Afghanistan.
All right. Now, none of the Muslim countries are donating any food or other relief items to the United Nations. None of them.
Turkey
is it outrageous or what?
Well, they ought to all be helping, but Turkey is. And
No, Turkey's not giving any food. I know they're sending military troops over there in peacekeeping, but we had the UN food guy on 4 days ago, and it's all coming from the United States, Japan, and Western Europe. And is there anything that you and the United States government can do to make Arab nations, supposedly our friends, members of the United Nations, help out in this relief effort?
Well, we're keeping the pressure on. We did meet with officials in Turkey and Oman. Turkish Prime Minister assured us that they were going to be helping with education, agriculture, and health care, and they actually have historic ties that go back to the 1920s with Afghanistan. So I see Turkey as playing a key role.
All right. Well, maybe you're right, but right now it's just a scandal that the Muslim world won't help fellow Muslims who are starving. Now, you went to Pakistan, too, right?
Yes, we did.
Going to be a war there between India and Pakistan? What's that?
We spent a lot of time talking with General Musharraf, the president of Pakistan, about the rising tensions between India and Pakistan. India has troops amassed along the common border. It's a very dangerous tinderbox because both countries have nuclear weapons, so it is an area of great concern to me. I think we're going to be able to de-escalate it and diffuse the tension, but it's very dangerous right now.
What did Musharraf say? I mean, he has been accused of protecting these terrorist groups that went over and shot up the India parliament. And obviously, a lot of Taliban have escaped into Pakistan. What does Musharraf say? Can he control his own country or no?
Musharraf's position is somewhat tenuous, but I have to tell you, I was very impressed with him and with his commitment. He told us that he'll be delivering a speech in a day or two where he's going to outline new steps that he's going to take to crack down further on terrorist groups in his own country, and he has made hundreds of arrests.
Senator, thanks. We appreciate it. And next, there has been a verdict in the Hockey Dad trial in Massachusetts. We'll have it for you. It's controversial. Also up ahead, a very controversial story. The Pope in a compromising position in a museum. Tax money's involved. We hope you stay tuned for those reports.
new 255 horsepower Nissan Maxima.
Fox Monday. A student takes a class project too far.
You can't take naked pictures of little kids like that.
Is it art?
The picture was about innocence.
Or pornography?
These are children. We need to tell social services.
A controversial new Boston public. Then Ally McBeal's world is gonna get rocked.
I have to hire you?
You have to hire me.
Well, are you married? Bonded?
John Bon Jovi joins the cast on an all-new Ally. Fox Monday.
I'm Leif Hansen. If you've been in an accident, you know what a hassle it is. That's where we come in. With Leif's, everything becomes very simple. From Salem to Longview, we make house calls. We'll give you an estimate, pick up your car, negotiate your claim, repair your vehicle back to pre-loss condition, and get it back to you, all without costing you extra. You've got my word on it.
Leif's Auto Collision Centers, the finest in collision repair.
Your fireplace adds so much to your home, and Gordon's can add even more. Gordon's Fireplace Shop and Home Decor. Selection second to none. Glass screens, fire accessories, high-efficiency natural gas fireplaces, plus home furnishings that will add to the warmth of your home. Portland's finest selection of fireplace screens, gas logs, and gas fireplaces on sale today. Everything for your fireplace. Gordon's Fireplace Shop and Home Decor. Open 7 days a week.
In the Factor follow-up segment tonight, a verdict in the Hockey Dad trial in Boston. Thomas Junta has been convicted of involuntary manslaughter in the killing of Michael Costin, another hockey father. Joining us from New York is Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano with a reaction. This is the least of the three charges, Judge, and there seemed to be some confusion at the end. They asked the judge to, clarify a few issues. How do you see it?
I think it was a compromise, Bill. I think the jury accepted some of the defendant's testimony. Remember, notwithstanding his size and notwithstanding the evidence about the brutality of the crime, he came across as a teddy bear-like figure, believable and sympathetic, and that's the reason he was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. And instead of being exposed to 20 years in jail, he's exposed to between 3 and 5. The confusion at the end seemed to be that we couldn't hear what the foreperson was saying. And when the judge said, is he guilty or innocent, she said, well, he's guilty on number 3, meaning involuntary manslaughter. Right. She hadn't yet said not guilty on the other 2.
Right. Now, let's get the sentencing guidelines here. He wasn't sentenced yet, right?
Right.
All right. And involuntary manslaughter in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, what is the top sentence he could get?
The top sentence he could get is 5 years.
That's it? Just 5 years?
That's it, because this is the least of the crimes. Had he been convicted of the highest, he could have gotten 20 years. You'll recall the judge said at the end, does the state have a victim impact statement yet? In other words, is the state prepared to argue to the court what the state thinks he should get, 3, 4, or 5? Is the defense prepared to argue to the court what the defense thinks he should get? The court itself is not yet prepared even to sentence him, because the probation department now must prepare what's called a pre-sentence investigation report, which will tell the court everything that the court wants to know about Mr. Junta from the time he was born up to the day of conviction.
Right. So the most he can serve is 5 years. If he does get the max from the judge, then he could be out in 2.5 on good behavior and all of that, right?
Absolutely. The corrections department will decide if he's going to go to a country club or if he's going to go to a maximum security prison. And they make those decisions on the basis of the nature of the crime. Here it was barbaric. The defendant's background, he has no criminal background. The defendant's physical size and what the defendant did, here an act of violence and a very large human being. I would suggest he probably will go to a very heavy facility, and he probably will get an upper number. That is, he'll probably get 4 or 5. I don't think the judge is going to show too much leniency here. The leniency came when the jury convicted him of the least of the 3 alternative crimes.
Now, by your using the word barbaric, Judge, it seems to me that you don't agree with the jury's verdict.
I don't. I think he savagely beat the victim, and should have been convicted of one of the other 2 crimes. But the jury has spoken. Candidly, I didn't hear all the evidence, and the jury did. He made a terrific impression as a sympathetic figure, which is what defense counsel wants the defendant to come across as when the evidence against him is very strong.
You know what is another factor, too? I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but you've sat on a lot of trials. His son testified, and it was obvious his son loved his father, and it was obvious that, you know, the longer the father gets put in prison, the more the son, who's 12 years old now, is deprived of his dad. The other boy, Mr. Costin, the victim's son, did not testify, where I think that was a mistake by the prosecution in the sense that, you know, here we have a kid whose father's never coming home.
Yeah, you know,
we didn't hear from him.
Bill, I agree with you entirely. I think you put your finger on the defect in the prosecutor's strategy. Unless the son of the victim would have made a terrible witness for whatever reason, emotional or something within the boy, the jury wants to hear how the victim's family will have suffered. Instead, they heard how the defendant's family will have suffered because the son of the defendant obviously
Because no matter
loves his
what
father.
the law says, Judge, the reality is that juries do take emotion into account when they make their verdicts, correct?
They absolutely do, especially in a case like this where it's a question of who you believe, and the whole case is a fight over protecting children.
Right. Judge, thank you. Plenty more ahead. As The Factor continues this evening from Los Angeles. Why does Hollywood not think The Factor is the greatest program on television? Bill Maher has some theories. And next, Catholic bashing on the public dime. It may be happening in Napa Valley. We hope you stay tuned for those reports.
Johnson, execute these orders to be split.
Strangely, many online brokers still route most of their orders the long way, through trading desks, market makers, or other middlemen. Daytech Online, however, has created powerful technology that bypasses many of the old obstacles. Are you getting the fastest possible execution of your online order? Daytech, built to trade.
Sprint is keeping small businesses across America connected and competitive with a full range of products and services. One way, competitive long-distance plans for small business. Presenting the Sprint Small Business Challenge. If your business spends at least $50 a month on in-state, out-of-state, and international long distance, Sprint will lower your long distance bill or give you $100 of free long distance just for trying, guaranteed. Call 1-888-SPRINT-BIZ. There are no long-term commitments, no hassles. End of story. That's how confident Sprint is that they can deliver the highest quality service with the lowest long-distance bill. And there's more good news. With Sprint Savings Alert, you can be notified up to 4 times a year if Sprint's rates go down. So take the challenge. Call 1-888-SPRINT-BIZ for details and get a lower bill or $100 of free long distance guaranteed.
This weekend, investors defrauded, employees left destitute, accounting records destroyed, the Enron bankruptcy. With a federal investigation underway, where will the money trail lead? Who will pay for all this and what happens next? Join Tony Snow and the panel for answers. That's this week on Fox News Sunday. Check your local listings. Tonight, as Enron powers down, Washington heats up. The latest on the link between the energy giant and the Attorney General. Tonight on Special Report with Britt Hume.
In the personal story segment tonight, another controversy involving taxpayer money and a sacrilegious museum display. In Napa Valley, just north of San Francisco, an art exhibit at the Copia Museum features figurines of the Pope and several nuns going to the John. The museum receives $50,000 a year in public funding. With us now is Doug McIntyre, a screenwriter here in Los Angeles who has been outspoken in his opposition to the displays. Taking some heat here in Hollywood, huh?
Well, you know, this is every SUV in Hollywood's got a censorship is un-American sticker on the back of it. And my point is that you don't have a constitutional right to a government grant. And, you know, Rudy Giuliani went through this with the Brooklyn Art Museum earlier with the picture of the Blessed Virgin with flying vaginas and elephant.
I mean, it's old news now that there are artists in the country and in all the world who want to offend religion. They want to offend
specifically
religion.
Catholicism. It's open season on
Yeah, but
Catholic
I'm not going to go so far. It's Christianity, I think, mostly. You don't see this happening in the Muslim world because you'd be executed in Muslim countries.
That's true.
And in the Jewish religion, we haven't seen it in the United States. We have not seen publicly funded money mocking the Jewish religion. Now, when you... Because you're on the radio here, too.
Yeah.
When you give your opinion that this is wrong, we shouldn't be using taxpayer money to fund sacrilegious displays, you take heat.
Yeah, because, you know, we're all in the free speech business, and I think that you have a right, obviously, and we fight for that right, to be offensive if you want to be, and some great art is offensive. The question is the connection of taxpayer dollars to funding art. And a lot of people feel in the arts community that they have a constitutional right to a government grant, and you don't have a constitutional right to a government grant.
But they know that.
Well, that's not the rhetoric that you hear, because if you oppose it, if you oppose funding for the arts, you're branded as a Luddite or a barbarian. And the reality is that it's interesting to me, this is what I've discovered, that the same people who will come down on someone like myself for criticizing an exhibit like at the Copia with, defecating popes and nuns, or the Brooklyn Art Museum, are the same people that will go to court to stop a prayer at a high school graduation. So if the religious icon is derogatory, they want government funding for it.
All right, let's get down to it. Do you believe it's just anti-religion? They just don't like religion and they want to hurt religion? Is that what this is?
Well, yeah, I think that a lot of people who are museum directors and work in the arts community resent religion. They are anti-religion.
But your friends, the writers in Hollywood, those kinds of people, I mean, surely they see that sacrilege is offensive, and surely they must understand that using taxpayer money to offend people in a religious sense is wrong. It's flat out wrong.
No,
it's wrong on every level.
Well, I don't think that that's the mindset of the arts community. I think the mindset of the arts community is that it's censorship. It's the artist should be free to do what he or she wants to do. And again, I agree that the artist should be free to do what he or she wants to do.
But not on the public dime. But see, that argument is so persuasive, and it's so... I'm telling you, I think this is all personal. I think Hollywood is just a personal place. That if you don't think the way they think, they're going to hate you. Now, have you lost work because of this?
Well, we'll find out after this appearance.
No, but what do you think? I mean, you're a writer, and you're dependent upon people to call your agent and say, hey, want McIntyre over here to do this.
Well, I've worked on shows in the past when I held my tongue, let's put it that way. It was much worse in '92. During the '92 election, it was a much more hostile environment in Hollywood than it is today.
Really?
Yeah.
Why was it? What was going on then?
I'm really not sure. It's just that maybe it was the place I was working at the time, but it was the Clinton campaign at that time. There was a sense that after Reagan, after Bush, that we had a chance to take back not only the White House, but take back the White House.
Where were you working?
I was working on the new WKRP in Cincinnati and syndication over
there. So you were working on a syndicated program, WKRP in Cincinnati, and they were all Clinton guys.
Yeah, primarily.
And if you were going to be a Bush guy in '92, they were going to fire you?
They weren't going to fire me, but it wasn't the friendliest environment, not so much for my coworkers, but from executives at the studio worked. And remember, Linda Bloodworth Thomas's office was literally underneath ours.
So you feared that?
I did fear that.
So it's a reverse blacklist.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say a blacklist, but conservatives in Hollywood are very circumspect about how they speak.
Right. But anyway, you're speaking out about this museum thing. It's, as we said, it's the same old stuff. Religion bashing on the public dollar. There's no justification for it.
And I think that, Bill, my point also is I think that the government should be out of the funding of the arts business in general because there's always strings attached.
And NPR is a great example of it. They shouldn't be getting any money because they don't want to put on other voices. Mr. McIntyre, thanks for coming in. We think you're a stand-up guy. Appreciate it. And when we come back from Los Angeles, Bill Maher on why Hollywood doesn't like the fact.
Fox News Live, I'm Kiran Chetri. The war of words between India and Pakistan have started up once again. Now Pakistan's president is preparing to address his country on the continuing tensions. Adam Housley reports.
The war of threats continues between longtime sworn enemies India and Pakistan. Indian military leaders now say that they will not conduct military maneuvers in the disputed region of Kashmir, but they will continue their massive deployment in that area. Both India and Pakistan have amassed thousands of troops along the border as the standoff continues between the two nations who have fought over the Kashmir region for years.
And I can assure you of one thing, as surely as I am alive. Should any nuclear weapon be used against India, Indian forces, Indian assets at sea, India's economic, human or other targets, the perpetrator of that particular outrage shall be punished.
Tensions are at their highest since the mid-1980s, and Pakistani President Musharraf will discuss the situation in a speech to his nation Saturday night. The world continues to take notice of this threat as the potential for war continues. In Islamabad, Adam Housley, Fox News.
And that is our update. We'll be back again for you coming up at the top of the hour. I'm Kiran Chetri. The O'Reilly Factor from Los Angeles continues after the break.
If this is what you sometimes call breakfast, remember one thing. You are what you eat. So next time, try something good. Nutri-Grain, with whole grain oats, real fruit, and calcium. Nutri-Grain, respect yourself in the morning.
Mike, let's take a look at those reports next Thursday. And Tom, Susan, set up a meeting on Monday. Any other thoughts?
You know, sir, instead of saving money by having only one office pen, we could just go to Staples.
Yeah, with Staples 365 Savings, they compare prices and back it up with a 110% price match guarantee.
That's sharp thinking.
Hey, client's here. We need the pen.
Low prices on every item, every day. Staples 365 Savings. Yeah, we've got that.
Reading to the kids at the library is the highlight of Fred's week. But some days, his COPD keeps him from being there. Chronic bronchitis or emphysema associated with COPD can keep you from doing simple things.
But now taking Ceravent helps me take fuller breaths.
Nothing can reverse COPD, but taking Ceravent twice a day can help improve your lung function around the clock. One call is all it takes to find out more about managing your COPD. Call 1-800-704-4705 right now to get 10 tips for taking fuller breaths and a $10 rebate. Ceravent should not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms or be taken more than twice a day. Some people may experience increased blood pressure, heart rate, or changes in heart rhythm. Ceravent is a prescription medicine and may not be right for everyone. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure, or take MAOIs or tricyclic antidepressants. Ask your doctor if Ceravent is right for you.
And start taking fuller breaths.
Call now for your free tips and rebate offer.
Thanks for staying with us. Bill O'Reilly in the personal story segment tonight. Over the past few months, national headlines have been made by some Hollywood stars who don't like what we do here on The Factor. The list includes George Clooney, Jim Carrey, Tom Hanks, and our pal Sean Penn. So why in the land of mellow are all these celebrities so upset with The Factor? This now is a guy who constantly stirs things up on his ABC program, Politically Incorrect, Bill Maher. So they don't like me.
What's not to hate?
What's the genesis of this, you think?
You're too good looking, Bill.
Is that it?
They're
jealous? That's what I thought it was. That's what I thought it was.
No, you know, it's funny because you and I agree on some things, we disagree on some things. I'm always insufficiently conservative for the conservatives and definitely insufficiently liberal for the liberals. A lot of them really hate me. And I agree, there's nothing worse than the Hollywood limousine liberals. They just... First of all, they don't really understand the issues. They're not that involved. I've talked to people who have reputations, not like Barbara Streisand. There's a true believer. I love her because she's, even if I don't agree with her, she does her homework, she knows what she's talking about. But a lot of these people, really, the issues are there just to present themselves. It gives them a platform.
Well, you talk to these people every night on your program about political issues.
Some of them, yeah.
What percentage would you say are bright people who are really interested in hearing both sides and making an objective decision?
Well, what percentage of anybody is that? Very few. Especially since the war started and we got a little more serious, thank God for that. We have not had on a lot of people who can't handle the issues as far as show people. But you have to understand, this town is, as most of the country, in the thrall of the kind of censorship that only takes place from the left. I mean, when I was a kid, the censorship was on the right. But if you go to a college campus, the Stalinism, and that's what it is from the left.
So you say that the left in America, the liberals, the real committed liberals, don't want to hear the other side.
They're the ones on a college campus who, if you write something in a newspaper they don't like, they'll take the newspaper off the stand.
And set it on fire or whatever.
Yeah.
They did that in Providence. So that the factor, because we're so powerful now, and we do have conservative opinions, we are. I mean,
and modest.
Well,
and that's what
sometimes those go
so
together and sometimes they don't.
So you fit in well out
We're
here.
powerful. And sometimes we have conservative opinions. They don't like those conservative opinions. That's why they don't like me. I mean, when a guy like Sean Penn says, hey, O'Reilly's worse than Osama bin Laden, I mean, come on, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I love Sean Penn. You can't knock Sean Penn.
Sure
Obviously,
he knock him all over the place.
Obviously, he was making an analogy, but Sean Penn, who's also Irish like we are, had the greatest line. He said, there's a big difference between a drunk and a heavy drinker. And it's words that I live by, Bill. So
That's right.
You're not going to get
well,
me mad
on
at
substance
Sean
abuse,
Penn.
he may know far more than me. But what I'm saying is...
more than a lot of people.
Right. What I'm saying is that he's upset. I mean, he really viscerally... See, look, when Bill Maher says something I'm politically incorrect that I don't agree with, I don't hate Bill Maher.
I would agree with that completely. It is the left wing that is more intolerant of other opinions. I had more help from the conservative side when I got into all that jazz back in September.
Military stuff, yeah.
The military stuff, which was a lie, than I did from the left wing. Then they understood where I was coming from all the time. It was the left wing that was a little more shaky on that.
Now, the charity thing started the ball rolling, the anti-factor Hollywood thing, where we said, basically, look, if you guys are going to run in and raise money and get all the good publicity that comes along with doing that, then you have an obligation to see that the money, or at least try to nudge these charities to do the right thing. Whoa, don't hold me accountable. You know, that was the George Clooney controversy.
Well, actually, I defended the Red Cross against what you said. I think it's ridiculous that you went after the Red Cross, who are not exactly blowing that money on something inconsequential.
But they changed their whole policy.
Okay, but how about the money that is going out the window in Washington to Enron and General Motors? How about that stimulus package? You're talking about billions. There is a big difference, because it's billions and billions of dollars going to something that we can't afford now to prop up rich.
That's not the difference. The difference is if you look into
the money you should be going after, Bill.
If Bill Maher goes on,
Red Cross.
If tonight I'm politically incorrect, you go on and you look in the camera and you say, listen, I want you to give money to help these people, whatever people they are, all right? Or these animals. You're a big animal rights guy. I want you to give money to help these Cocker Spaniels because they're in bad shape, and you send this money in, and we're going to help these Cocker Spaniels, all right? So, you know some people are going to write a check, mostly working people who don't have a lot of money. Okay. Now, wait a minute. And then the money doesn't go to, it might go to help the snakes someplace, but not the Cocker Spaniels. You got a responsibility to live up to what you say.
I think you're missing the big picture on that one. Just the way, I must say, I was watching before with Doug McIntyre, you missed the big picture on that. It's not about the government funding bad or irreligious art. It's that the government shouldn't be funding art at all.
No, we understand that. We understand that. But there is an anti-religion strain in the arts that depend on, or at least use government. But let's get back to the charity thing, because it's fascinating to me. All I wanted these guys to do was to try to help push the money into where it was supposed to go, the families, and they got all upset. It's a sense of entitlement, I believe. They don't want to be held accountable. These guys think that they're above any criticism.
I think the entitlement is entirely on the other foot there, because I think it was a situation where, yes, people saw Julia Roberts on television saying, if you send in your money, it goes to the people. But, of course, the Red Cross is a massive bureaucracy. It is like an army.
But say that then. Don't say 100% go. Say 60% go, and the 40% others goes to the massive bureaucracy.
But in this situation where we're in, is this really what we should be picking on? Is it the Red Cross? The Red Cross really is on the top of your list of people who...
All I wanted to do was to do the right thing, and they eventually did. They eventually did. We won that war, and the United Way. We won that one, too. But it was a Pyrrhic victory in the sense that I'm the devil now.
Bill, you were always the devil.
I knew it. I set him up, and I knew he came through. All right, look, there's one other thing I want to talk to you about tonight. You're a guy who puts his ideology where his mouth is, and that's what I like about you. You understand how much energy we waste here with the SUV craze and all of that, and the Arabs are been killing us for the last 20 years. You did something very interesting. You bought an experimental car. Tell me about that.
Well, it's, you know, when you say experimental, that's what most people think. It's a hybrid. Toyota makes it. And by the way, Toyota didn't give it to me. Toyota has
You bought it, right?
Absolutely no help. I've been pushing this car. They should be sending me a fruit basket. They've done nothing, but that's okay. But this car is called the Prius. It's just like any other car. People think you have to plug it in. You don't. It's a hybrid. It has a gas engine that starts the car, and then it turns over to the electric, okay? It gets over 50 miles to the gallon.
50.
Over 50 to the gallon.
And
okay?
you tool around on Sunset Boulevard in this thing?
It's just like any other car. It has great pep. It's got great power.
Looks good?
Well, it's a small car, but yeah, it does. I could not tell it. I'm not a car guy. But if I look down a row of cars, I couldn't, like, point out and say...
And you drive this thing around?
It's the car I drive. It's my car now, yes. There's nothing wrong with this car. There's nothing different about this car except that it's electric, except when you stop at a red
So how
light.
come we all don't drive this car?
Because we don't have a president who gets up there and says, you know what, folks, we ought to be making some real sacrifices. Turn in your SUV.
But it's not a sacrifice, is it? It's just...
I don't think it's a big sacrifice, but I'm not going to lie to you. It's not quite as luxurious as the giant Mercedes I was driving before that.
Ah. All right.
But you know
I'm
what?
big on that.
Either we really take this war seriously and
Or we
really
don't.
do something to sacrifice, or we don't.
I'm with you.
That's a small price to pay.
All right, Bill. Bill Maher, as always, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. Good to
I'll see you soon on mine.
And when we come back, your humble correspondent will rehearse for tomorrow's shootout with the TV writers. You don't want to miss that in a moment.
David Lee Miller. Greg Malcott.
Amy Kellogg.
William Larsenet. Steve Harrigan. Fox News. Internet.
Ready for an experience that's out of this world? Come into Tony Roma's. Our reputation spans the globe, and we're famous for doing whatever it takes to satisfy your craving for the true flavor of the grill. Like the new Ultimate Roma Feast. Flame-grilled ribs, barbecue chicken, smoked sausage, corn on the cob, and coleslaw. All at a special price right now.
Whatever it takes to make it great.
Hi, I'm Rick from Empire Glass. Let Empire Glass replace your cracked windshield and will now pay up to $100 of your comprehensive insurance deductible. And will now give you 24 free dinners to Sherry's, the Northwest's #1 family restaurant and bakery, with any windshield replacement. So for the highest in quality windshields, including up to $100 off your comprehensive deductible and 24 free dinners to Sherry's, call Empire Glass today at 251-9881. When you think glass, think Empire.
When you're looking to buy or sell a home, it's important to keep in touch with the local market. That's why you should tune in to the Coldwell Banker Barbara Susile Properties Tour of Homes show. You'll find local listings in a variety of shapes, sizes, and price ranges. And at Coldwell Banker, you'll find real estate professionals who work to achieve the perfect balance of needs for their clients. Look to the Coldwell Banker Tour of Homes show 7 days a week only on TV Mart, AT&T Cable Channel 15. Let us help you find your dream home.
Webster says hi.
In the Back of the Book segment tonight, as we mentioned in the Talking Points memo, tomorrow I will face more than 100 television writers from around the country in a press conference situation, so I need a little rehearsal. Joining us now from New York to help us out with that is Steve Rendell, a senior analyst with the Media Watch Group, Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting. All right, you're perfect for this, Steve, because you're a little lefty. You know, your group is a left-wing group. And as we pointed out in a memo, I don't know any conservative television writers, not one. I must say, to be fair, though, that some of the TV critics, Marvin Kipman of Newsday and some of the others, have been very, very fair and good to me in the last year or so. But primarily, they're people, you know, like you, who look at it, the factor as some kind of ideological jihad. So if you're there tomorrow, what do you ask me?
Let's keep it short and sweet, Bill. Why not admit that the Fox News channel is a conservative network? Why not a little truth in labeling?
Because that's just your opinion. See, I don't hold that opinion. Why would I admit something that I don't believe? You know, Greta Van Sustren's coming on board. Geraldo's already here. You know, you can say what you want to say, but I believe that the Fox network is fair and balanced, and you hear more voices on our network than you hear on any other network in existence. So why would I admit that?
Well, I mean, just from Ailes on down, we're talking about Asman, Tony Snow, Britt Hume, yourself, people who take a great preponderance of conservative positions.
All right, give me one conservative position.
This is a position that's raised. This is a view that's raised by a lot of people at Fox News.
It's a myth, all right? You mentioned 5 names. I can give you 5 names on the other side. But give me one position that the factor is consistently taken, that it is ideologically based to the right.
Well, let's look at the issues that you have a relentless drumbeat on. Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Okay.
Hillary Clinton's scandals.
Janet Reno.
Yes, her inefficiency to investigate scandals.
Bill Clinton. And
his scandalous
Jesse
behavior.
Jackson. And
his
Jesse
scandals.
Jackson, especially Jesse Jackson.
All right, so they're all have one thing in common. They're all scandal-based.
They're all non-conservatives, Bill. That's
it doesn't matter. They're all scandal-based, see? And I've been very hard on John Ashcroft for not investigating, in my opinion, more aggressively.
To give you credit, Bill, you had a couple of shows on Dick Cheney and the secrecy of some of the energy meetings, and you've done a few things on Ashcroft, but nothing to add up to the relentless drumbeat that you run on these non-conservatives.
But, Steve, that's because these 4 people that you mentioned, Hillary, Bill, Jesse Jackson, and Janet Reno, have over the period of 8 years, remember, the Bush administration has only been in power 1 year, 8 years, piled up so many scandals. I mean, scores of scandals. What else would I talk about? If you want to match scandals, you can't match it with Bush Sr., with Ronald Reagan. I mean, the Clintons led the league in scandals. They lead the league.
I think you could certainly match the number of scandals that Ronald Reagan had, or others have had too. But let's move on. Look, I'll say this about the O'Reilly factor and about Fox News. Fox News was very antagonistic towards the White House until George W. Bush arrived into office.
Because
now
the White House
Fox
was
News
scandal-ridden.
Fox News looks more like Soviet state-run television in the way that it defends and runs interference for the White House. I mean, the journalistic ideal, Bill, is that you take power, you tell truth to power, you go to those in charge, and you hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah, and we've been doing that with the Enron scandal. We were the first ones on the factor to say, hey, you've got to investigate this, the Bush administration. You've got to be very aggressive, and you've got to put the Justice Department on it. We're the first ones that said that, Mr. Rendell. So you watch it through your prism.
Bill,
and that's what a lot of other people do, too. We were just talking about that with Bill Maher. You watch it through your prism, and anything that we do that criticizes the Bush administration, like the out-of-control ground situation in Afghanistan now, this goes right over your head. But I'll give you the last word.
Well, there's a lot of things I could say, but the idea that this is a no-spin zone, that you don't look at things through your own prism, is one that I think has got to be taken on. I give you credit for one thing.
You better take it on with facts.
I give you credit for one thing, and that is you put on people that you disagree with, and that happens not often enough on national television.
All day long we put them on, and more freedom of speech is uttered in a no-spin zone than any other program on the air, and that's why we're successful. Mr. Rendell, thanks for the rehearsal. Now I know what I'm going to be facing tomorrow. Next, we'll wrap things up, the most ridiculous item of the day, and some of your mail.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
It's all you can eat shrimp. Would you like some more?
Thank you.
All you can eat shrimp now at Red Lobster. Enjoy all your favorites: golden fried, sizzling scampi, and savory shrimp pasta. Just $12.99. Red Lobster. Go overboard.
On January 23rd, go back in time to the 80s.
When a problem comes along, you must whip it before the cream sets out too long. You must whip it when something's going wrong. You must whip it. Now whip it into shape. Shape it up. Get straight. Go forward. Move ahead.
From the creators of That 70s Show, a new series, That 80s Show, premieres Wednesday, January 23rd on Fox.
As Enron powers down, Washington heats up. The latest on the link between the energy giant and the Attorney General, tonight on Special Report with Britt Hume.
It was a bloody stalemate. Two bitter enemies locked in a mortal combat, each desperately fighting for every foot of ground, and neither side willing to give an inch.
The men were fighting back desperately to keep from being wiped out.
60,000 men would never go home. The Battle of Anzio. Join us for a special War Stories with Oliver North.
Time now for the most ridiculous item of the day. California is one of my favorite places in the world, but it is a very, very strange state. Ready for the latest? U.S. Congresswoman Lois Capps, a Democrat from the Santa Barbara area, has convinced the federal government to give her district $50,000 for tattoo removal. So you and I are paying for some people in Ms. Capps' district to get the lion taken off their shoulder. Does it get any more ridiculous than that? No, it does not. And finally tonight, the Mail about the ACLU banning its people from appearing on The Factor. Fernando de Oliveira Pinho, Yonkers, New York. Mr. Oh, boy, did you really get defensive about the ACLU. Lighten up. Don't you think everybody in this country, whether they be citizens or not, should have the same rights and obligations? By the way, I hope you got interrupted 10 times while reading this note. Well, that's very clever, Mr. Pinho. Here's my take on this. Non-U.S. citizens are here at the pleasure of our government. They don't have the same constitutional rights as Americans. For example, we can hold illegal immigrants in detention centers. We can't do that with citizens. The Constitution protects Americans, not everybody. Craig Hoover, Topeka, Kansas. The ACLU only supports freedom of speech when they agree with what's being said. You, Bill, pose a threat to their extreme agenda. That's what they don't like about you. Laurel Jampgard, Menlo Park, California. Mr. O'Reilly, the ACLU is an important watchdog protecting our fundamental rights. I may not always agree with their points, but I'm glad they're active in the debate. You know, Ms. Jampgard, I used to agree with you, but the ACLU does not want to debate anymore. They want to dictate. About the disturbing situation in Afghanistan. Ron Miller, Honolulu. Bill, you sit behind a desk making big money and have the nerve to tell our government not to make deals with the Afghans. Our guys are dealing with practical, difficult problems and are not in your Fox ivory tower. Kathy Colin, Bend, Oregon. Bill, I'm so angry I can hardly speak. Taliban leaders being let go. That's like slapping the face of all the September 11th victims. Pete Pitchey, Indianapolis. Hey, Bill, where are you? Imagine if this Enron situation happened when Clinton was president. You and your Republican friends would be all over Mr. Clinton. What a surprise. Not a word from you on this whole deal. Hey, Mr. Pitchey, I hope you're not impaired in sight and sound. The Factor's been extremely aggressive in the Enron situation. Get the liberal dust out of your eyes. Come on. Ray Dickerson, St. Charles, Missouri. Bill, have you noticed all the Bush bashing? Let's remind folks that Democrats were helped by Enron as well. Bill Clinton went golfing with their CEO. And Mr. Dickinson, only two things matter now about Enron. One, that no elected official helped that company hose its stockholders. And two, that the Bush administration aggressively investigate Enron executives who made millions. Those are the only two things that matter now. About the first grader who weighs 160 pounds in Florida, Aaron Smith, Carlsbad, California. We step in when a parent starves a child. It's logical for the government to hold parents accountable when the opposite occurs. Society must protect children. Sherry Graham, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. O'Reilly, the story is none of your business. It's between the boy, the family, and his doctor. And Kirk Douglas, Los Angeles. Bill O'Reilly, I love you, I hate you, but you are never dull. Well, I appreciate the feedback, Mr. Douglas. I've always enjoyed your films. And your new book, My Stroke of Luck, is excellent, by the way. And I believe our website is excellent as well, www.foxnews.com/O'Reilly. Now, my latest column for WorldNetDaily.com, which you can access on our website, is about the inside story of the Paul is on thing, okay? You'll like the column. And also, how about emailing us with some very pithy comments? O'Reilly@foxnews.com, O'Reilly@foxnews.com. Name in town, name in town, name in town, if you wish to opine, all right? And that is it for us today. As always, we thank you for watching The Factor. I'm Bill O'Reilly reporting from Los Angeles. I hope I get back to New York on Monday with all those film critics or TV critics waiting for me tomorrow. We'll tell you about it next time.